This question here is Kundalini a permanent or temporary phenomenon? I can't seem to find the answer to this question. Why does it become very intense and active and then stop and then sometimes come back? And the actual real answer to this is a great summary in today's presentation. The poles, the polarization, it's coming, going, and then it's coming. But you really want it to remain and be consistent. Now, of course, this thing cannot remain fully activated, full throttle, all the way on that opposite pole all the time. You not only would be crazy to us, we will be crazy to you. And I've lived in that world for periods long enough to know everybody around you seems off, that you can see what's going on. And you judge immediately of what's happening. Kundalini opens up that world and lets you see all of those impurities and the parts of existence. But when that's happening, if your consciousness is not mature enough to really handle what you're experiencing, what then ensues is the isolation. And then at this point, all of the things start to work on you as if they're attacking you, meaning that when you get pulled off by yourself, this could be beneficial for a certain period. But if you stay in that solitude too long, then this depression and things start attacking you. And then next thing you know, where you're at, I don't want to be here anymore. I'm cutting. I'm cutting off everything. I'm cutting off. And it's because you become almost too sterile in an environment that actually needs microbes. It needs a little bacteria. It's a little funk going on here. There's a dance happening. You see what I mean? Folks are sweating and getting into it. You see what I mean? So it's going to demand that actually happens for you. So if you're polarized, though, you just swing back to the opposite pole. Then it cuts off. And then you're like, well, damn, I guess I ain't spiritual anymore. Like, now all this is foolishness. And it's a product of polarizations. But then you're like, well, shit, I used to have it. I used to be tapped in. And then I guess, I don't know, when I hooked up with John, it kind of cut off. Because then, of course, there's always somebody to blame. This is the problem with polarities. It's always something else's fault. See, in balance, you're an arbitrator. So you're actually completely present. See, to be completely present in your body, like if you're on one side of the body, you're not completely present. You're on that side and you're imbalancing a body. I ask you a question. The bodies, I'll say that. When I say body, I mean all the bodies. How much can a person carry when they're not on a balanced foundation? How much can someone carry when they're not on a balanced foundation? When they're all in the, I discovered this, the whole thing. Is that a person that you can really count on and say, here's this, we're all counting on you to complete this, please come back? That person's going to get out there and abandon everybody. And this fanciful ideas and things that happen in that state. And I'm not saying anything is wrong with that. That's not where I'm at. I'm at a whole nother level of maturity with this. I'm not saying right and wrong. I'm beyond the parents now. I'm realizing that this is all about chemicals. This is all about that if you were wanting to study something to learn about the complete arcana of the entire existence, then you would at least know how the body works. You would know how the digestion works. You would know how the different parts and what they do. Because then when you knew all of that, you would know what not to do. You would know what not to eat at certain times, what to eat at certain times, what to say, what not to say, because you would know how the person was processing it. But yet, we rely upon these gurus, these teachers, and all these different external things in order to give us those insights. And if they are not well-rounded themselves and fully flexible, if they're not like within themselves realizing that, hey, you don't even know it all, buddy. There's no such thing as knowing it all. You can't contain everything in this limited consciousness all in a moment. And you need to be expressing yourself that way in order for us all to not feel like that we somehow missed the mark because we're not sitting in and doing what you're doing. Okay? So that's the progress. And we're progressing in this. You cannot say that I've been saying the same thing since the very day we started. This message continues to evolve and continues to serve more and more. It continues to get to an aspect of like, okay, now we got 50 million more people that we can now include into this message. But there's still 9 billion of us. So are you really scratching the surface? So the more that you exclude yourself from what you can do in this space, the more that you misunderstand about what's happening in this existence that always has been going on, the less you will be able to perceive and the less you will be able to interact with, which will be in direct contradiction to what you're looking to do anyway. So that's why I'm saying practice the balanced path. Roll with facts. Roll with wisdom from your experience. And never be afraid to, if you find yourself doing something that you may have been preaching on the corners about, to say if that is not exactly how things work, because that's how you progress. That's what got me to where I'm at right now. And that's what will take me to where I'm going. And you best believe, because my foundation will be solid, everybody that's with me will be going along the way, because we're co-creating all of this. When someone says, hey, I have a question about this diet, in the co-creation, I get the same ping. Hey, man, I got a question about this diet. That's our collective power. That's how we built some of these massive structures. That's how we drilled holes 900 times faster than they can be drilled right now. That's how we created holes where precision equipment can't even get tools into. We did it with the collective consciousness. But we have to realize also that the I-ness is a big part of the building blocks and the components. The loneliness is where we oftentimes cultivate the greatest things. But just like the sun, as we talked about, the sun's energy is sometimes overwhelming. It needs to be broken down. We have to realize that each of these powers and components and tools have a use. So don't throw them away. Harmonize and realize their purpose in the space with you in this existence. Wholeness and balanced vibration, everyone.